class. So children, we all know that about 71% of our Earth's surface is covered with water. So the surface covered with water is called as the hydrosphere. So where can you find water, children? We can find water in many forms like oceans, ponds, rivers and so. Okay. So in this lesson, we are going to discuss about oceans. So what are oceans? The large water bodies are called as oceans. Okay, so here we are going to discuss about major oceans of the earth and then about seas. So under seas we are going to see about two things. Marginal seas and inland seas. And the last about rivers and water pollution. So before getting into the lesson, now let's revise about the oceans. So here this is a world map. You all know about the oceans, right? So which is the largest and the deepest ocean? Is the Pacific Ocean. So next to the Pacific Ocean is the Atlantic Ocean. And next to the Atlantic Ocean will be the Indian Ocean. Okay. So this is the only ocean which is named after the country. That is our country, India. Okay. And after the Indian Ocean, it will be the Arctic Ocean. And next to the Arctic Ocean, the last ocean will be the Antarctic Ocean. And it is also otherwise called as the Southern Ocean, as it's located in the southern part of the earth. Okay. So now we are going to discuss about all these oceans and about the seas. Okay, now let's start our lesson.
So, children, let's start our lesson water bodies. So, children, as I told you, about 71% of the Earth's surface is covered with water, and then I explained you about hydrosphere, isn't it? Now we are going to see about the oceans. So, as I said, the large water bodies are called as oceans, and the total amount of water on the Earth's surface is estimated to about 1,250 million cubic square kilometers. And the water bodies differ in size right from huge ones like oceans and seas to small ones like ponds. Ponds means what? Kuttai, Kulam, like that. Okay. So, thus the various water bodies we see on the Earth's surface are in the form of oceans, seas, lakes, rivers, ponds, waterfalls, etc. So, the large water bodies are only called as oceans. Okay, children. And all the oceans of the world are interconnected. Interconnected means connected with one another. And thus the water level in them remains the same everywhere. So, this level of the ocean water is called the mean sea level. This alone you have to understand, okay? And you all know the major oceans as we discussed already, okay? So, first we are going to see about the Pacific Ocean. Shall we, children? So, children, the Pacific Ocean is the largest and the deepest ocean. So, this thing you already know, right? So, it is surrounded by the continents of North America and South America in the east, and Asia and Australia in the west, and Arctic Ocean in the north, and the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean in the south. Okay, and the Challenger Deep. Okay, that is, it is more than 11,000 meters below the mean sea level, and it is located in the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean, and it is the deepest point in the world. And about 3/4 of the world's active volcanoes are in the Pacific Ocean and the lands bordering it. Okay, children. So, the world's active volcanoes form a circular belt around the Pacific Ocean, and that is why this belt is called as the Pacific Ring of Fire. Okay. So, children, this is called as the Pacific Ring of Fire. So, the world's active volcanoes form a circular belt around the Pacific Ocean. So, next we are going to see about the Atlantic Ocean. So, the Atlantic Ocean probably got its name from the legendary island of Atlantis. So, this ocean is bordered by North America and South America in the west, and by Europe and Africa in the east, and it is the second largest of the world's ocean. And what shape is this ocean? It is shaped like letter S, and the coastline of the Atlantic Ocean is highly indented. So thus its coastline is longer than the coastline of the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean put together. Okay, so in south it merges with the Pacific and the Indian Ocean. So, children, we know that the Andes is the longest mountain range on land. So, however, the longest mountain range of the world is the Mid Atlantic Ridge. Here you can see in light blue color between the two continents. Okay, so this underwater mountain range is located in the Atlantic Ocean and also consists of ranges and valleys. Right, so it extends from the Greenland in the north to the South Atlantic Ocean. So the islands of Iceland, Azores, Bermuda, and Tristan da Cunha are the parts of this mountain range which rise above the main sea level. Okay, so the mid Atlantic range is found under water. Okay. So next we are going to see about the Indian Ocean. So the Indian Ocean is the only ocean in the world which is named after the country India. So the Indian Ocean does not open out northwards into the Arctic Ocean, and it is completely bounded on the north by Asia. And thus the Indian Ocean is referred to as a half an ocean, and it is bounded by Africa in the west and by Australia in the east. So children, the next one is the Arctic Ocean. So the Arctic Ocean is more or less surrounded by land, and it is centered around the North Pole, and it lies within the Arctic Circle, and it is surrounded by the northern parts of Europe, Asia and North America, and it is connected to the Pacific Ocean by the Bering Strait, and sometimes the Arctic Ocean is taken as the northward extension of the Atlantic Ocean. And drifting of icebergs are common in this Arctic Ocean, and as you know, the most of the parts remain covered with snow throughout the year, and it is the smallest and the shallowest of the world's 5 major oceans. So the next one is the Antarctic or the Southern Ocean. So the Southern Ocean is also known as the Antarctic Ocean or the Austral Ocean. And here the water body that surrounds Antarctica, it is called as the Southern Ocean. And it has no natural boundaries in north, and it remains frozen in winter. Okay, and the continent of Antarctica is surrounded by water bodies which is actually an extension to the Pacific and the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean. So children, why these oceans are important to us? So the oceans serve humankind in the following ways. What are they? So they are the main source of moisture in the atmosphere, and they modify, that is they change the temperature of the coastal areas, and they are the storehouse of minerals and various chemicals, and they have a vast reserve of fish and other edible marine life, and they provide a free highway for travel and trade. They possess enormous energy in the form of tidal waves, and the freshwater shortage can be solved by the desalinating the ocean water. So you all know what is desalination, isn't it? Removing the salt water and making it used for drinking purpose. Next one, they provide natural links between the continents, and they provide a bulk of the common salt. So these are all the importance of oceans. So children, the next topic will be about the seas. So seas are large bodies of salt water which are parts of an ocean, and they are smaller in size than an ocean and are generally attached to a continent. So seas can be open like the Arabian Sea, and it can be partly enclosed by land masses and cut off from the main ocean like the Mediterranean Sea, and it is completely landlocked like the Caspian Sea. Can you find in the map, children? Yes. So the Dead Sea is located between the Jordan, Israel and Palestine, is an inland sea. So it is the world's saltiest water body. Which one? It is the Dead Sea. Okay. Next we are going to see the difference between the marginal sea and the inland sea. So the seas which are a part of open oceans are called as marginal seas. Okay, it is in open ocean, and such seas are shallow than the open oceans, and the distribution of marginal seas are in different oceans. You can see them in the world map. Okay, next one is the inland seas, the large bodies of salt water or fresh water which are entirely landlocked Can you see in the second picture given children? Yes. So they are the Black Sea, the Caspian Sea, and the Dead Sea. And there are some examples. And some of the inland seas are also called as lakes. So next we are going to see about what is bay. So bay is a body of water which is partially surrounded by land. Otherwise we can say they are curved indentations of a sea jutting into the land. So usually bays have wide openings such as the Hudson Bay, the Bay of Biscay, and our Bay of Bengal. So there are some examples. Next one, what is a lake? A lake is a body of water that is surrounded by land. So otherwise we can see that there are depressions on the land surface where water has accumulated, and they vary in size, in shape, and depth. Okay children, and the mode of formation also is different in lakes, and they are fed either by the surface water or the groundwater or both. Okay, and they may be found at very high altitudes at sea level, and a lake may be big as the Caspian Sea or small as a pond, and lakes can be very deep as Lake Baikal in Siberia or maybe shallow, and they can be freshwater lakes like Lake Superior or saltwater lakes. Okay, and in your textbook you'll be having about the distribution of lakes in all the continents and the importance of lakes. Okay children, so kindly go through in your textbook. So children, now we are going to see about what are gulfs and lagoons. So first one, what is a gulf? So gulfs are nothing but large inlets of an ocean or a sea, and they are highly indented and more enclosed by the coast, and it is larger in size than the bays. Example, the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Mexico. Okay. Next one, what is a lagoon? An area of shallow water. So water staying in the top, that is called the shallow water, which is separated from the sea by low sandy dunes. So you all know what are sandy dunes, right? Hills of sand are called as sand dunes. So it is separated by low sandy dunes. That part is called as the lagoon. Okay children, so you have to understand what is a gulf and what is a lagoon. Then we learned about what is marginal inland seas, what is a bay, and what is a lake. So try to remember all these important definitions. Okay. So next we're going to see what is a strait. So a strait is a narrow body of water that connects two larger bodies of water. Example, we have the Park Strait and the other things. Okay, and next one, what is a river? A river is a large natural stream of flowing water, and they flow continuously in channels, and they finally drain into lakes or seas. So you have already learned about different terms related to rivers, such as the source and mouth, tributaries, distributaries in lesson 1. Can you recollect them children? Yes. So the rivers carry fresh water, and some rivers carry water throughout the year. Such rivers are called as perennial rivers. Okay, and some rivers which dry up during summer, those rivers are called as non-perennial rivers, and they are rain-fed. Only when rain is there, you will be having water in these rivers. And a river carries out its work in 3 ways. It erodes the rock over which it flows, and this is called as erosion. Next one is transportation. When it transports the eroded materials, that is when it's flowing, it collects all the rock particles, isn't it? We learned about sediments. This is called as transportation. And when it deposits a material which has eroded and transported, that is called as deposition. Can you understand children? This all we have learnt in lesson 1. And about the courses of the river, next we'll see. So children, we are discussing about the characteristics of rivers. So under it we are going to see about the courses of a river. So you all know that the course of a river from source to mouth, it can be divided into 3 stages, isn't it? What are they children? Can you see? the picture and recollect? Yes, the upper course, the middle course, and the lower course. So, first one, the upper course. So, the upper course of a river lies in the mountains or highlands. So, in this state, the slope of the land is steep and the river carries less volume of water, and thus the river flows swiftly and there is more erosion and transportation of the sediments. Next one is the middle course of a river. So the middle course of a river begins where the river leaves the mountains and enters the plains. So due to the change in the slope of the land, the flow is no longer smooth. So in this state, the river erodes and transports and deposits the sediments. Next one is the lower course of the river. The river flows through the plains here. Okay, can you see in the picture there? Yes, the lower course. So here it carries huge volume of water and the speed is very slow, and thus the river mainly deposits the sediments in this stage. Okay, next one is distribution. So here you have to remember two things. So the Nile in Africa is the longest river, while the Amazon in South America is the largest river in the world. So longest is Nile and the largest river is Amazon in South America. So it's a very important question in this lesson, children, so kindly register in your mind. Okay, and you have given that about the distribution of rivers in different continents in your textbook, so kindly go through. Okay, children, next one, what is the importance of these rivers? Can you tell me? Yes, they provide fresh water for domestic and industrial purpose. They provide water for irrigation, and they have some fertile alluvial plains which are suitable for agriculture, and they help in the generation of hydroelectricity. Where? In which course of the river? In the upper course of the river. Okay. Next one, they are rich source of fish. So inland fishing provides livelihood to most of the fishermen, and they also provide inland water transport. Okay, these are the importance of rivers. So children, the last topic is about water pollution. So this also we learned last year, right? So what is water pollution? So the presence of the undesirable substances in water which can make the water unfit for use by humans, animals and marine life is called water pollution. Okay, and water pollution results when the contaminants are introduced into the natural environment. So this water pollution can affect fresh water, salt water and even groundwater, and is very harmful for plants, animals and humans. So jaundice, gastroenteritis and typhoid are the diseases caused by drinking polluted water. So what are the causes of water pollution? We have two factors, natural factors and human made factors. Okay, so now let us learn about them. So first one, natural factors. So the natural factors that cause water pollution are storms, soil erosion, landslides, volcanic eruption and decay and decomposition of plants and animals. Example, storms often cause soil and other particles to dissolve in water, isn't it? And they pollute the water and make it unfit for drinking and cooking. Okay, next one, human made factors. So water pollution caused by human activities is due to the following. First one, dumping chemical waste from the factories. Can you see in the picture? Yes, and they also have the untreated sewage into the water bodies. Okay, and dumping the household and the municipal waste. Next one, washing away of chemicals from the chemical fertilizers and pesticides due to rain and their subsequent deposition in water bodies. And next one, bathing and washing clothes in rivers. So if you see in the village side, they'll all be washing their animals, their clothes, everything in rivers. So all these contaminate water. Okay, and the last one is about the oil spills. Recently also we have seen about oil spills in our television. Okay, oil spills at sea due to leakage from oil tankers and offshore oil fields. These are the human made factors which contaminate water. So what we have to do? So you have to keep our earth and all the other aspects to be free, and it should be pollution free. Okay children, So children, in this lesson we have revised about oceans first. Yes, so under oceans we have seen about the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Arctic Ocean, and the last one is about the Southern or the Antarctic Ocean. Then we discussed about seas. Under seas we saw about marginal and inland seas. Under marginal seas we saw about bay and gulf. Okay, next we discussed about lakes. Under lakes we saw freshwater and saltwater lakes, and the last topic was about rivers. Under rivers we saw about perennial and the non-perennial rivers, and last about what is water pollution, what are the causes, natural factors and human-made factors, right? So children, now I want you all to write your classwork neatly and complete your textbook exercises, right? And I will be sending you the answers in the assignment, so kindly check it children. Okay, have a great day children, take care and be safe.